Am I audible to you?
Yes, you are audible.
Nice. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Arey, you told me
So,
that
Hi, sir.
you
Hello,
officially
sir.
spotted same. So tell me, how can I be of help?
Aditya, are you there?
Hello, I am audible.
Yep. Clear.
Hello, sir.
Hello, hello.
Hope you're good. Can we start?
All great, all great. Yep. To keep you all
Okay.
waiting for 30 odd minutes.
It's okay. By the way, we'll be recording this. Oh, okay.
By the way, I know that.
Thank you, sir. Everyone, and welcome. Today we have a very special guest, someone who walked the same corridor we do, sat in the same classroom, and has now gone to make his mark in the corporate world. Meet Digvijay Pratap Singh, our senior from MBA Study and Consulting, batch of 2025, and a proud UPS alumnus who currently working with us now. Now, what makes the Digvijay story so inspiring for all of us sitting here at UPS is that it don't come from a typical corporate MBA program. He's nearly years running operations at Bricks Manufacturing. But here's what really resonate with us as student. When he come to UPS, he don't just focus on grades. Yes, he graduated with stellar 9.28 CGPA, as I'm not wrong, but he also founded something that many of us know and respect today, Koshu, the Strategy Society. And as it's a founding president, he built it from scratch. And in just first year, he showed us what possible when combines academic with real initiative. From the base of Siddharpur and to interning at Noida, rail corporations to now being part of India's renewable division at Suzlon. Digvijay's journey is proof that UPS is more than just a degree. Today, we are excited to hear his story, his learning, his struggle, and his advice for all of us who are still figuring out our own paths. And Digvijay sir, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for taking time to speak with us. So, first question from my side only. Me being myself member of Koshu, I'm curious to know the Koshu journey. Can you take us back to one of those moments when, everything seemed to be falling apart and you were not sure if would pull it off or not? What kept you and the team going to make Koshu happen?
Firstly, thank you for that absolutely introduction. Uh, it feels still very surreal because an year back I was sitting where you were. So talk about Koshu, how it started. It was a baby that we initially planned in the first year itself. Rajesh Tripathi sir was the one who actually planned it. And then as we went into the second year, over this 1 year, we actually found out that a lot of top B schools have these proper strategy and consulting clubs and societies. And the main aim of that was to give students a really real life exposure that how corporates work, how you actually work in a consulting firm. More or less, it was about how to develop that really, rather than not just sitting and complaining that, this is not working. So to develop that mindset and everything, found that in all the top B schools, they had these really nice strategy and consulting societies and clubs, and they interacted with academic, not just academic, but industry a lot. And they took on a lot of industry problems, and that thing really helped them in not just in their placements, because a lot of them got placements through those interactions only. So the basics was this, but getting a club up and running in UPS is a challenge in itself, because what we don't realize is there are a lot of uh, paperwork involved in this. You have to get a lot of things. So for that time, we got this society up and running. We got our directors are on board. And trust me, when we actually got three flagship events, we were the youngest society. And for college, because when you go and present proposals for Udyam, there are like what,
Yes, sir.
8 to 10 odd faculty members, all senior, all pros. And when they start grilling you, that okay, you have said that you will be getting this, how do you plan? And then they go like in great detail. So it was a very nice experience, but when you have an amazing team, you can pull it off.
Hello, good evening, sir. My name is Gunjan Sharma. Digvijay, sir, first
Firstly,
of all,
let's get this sir thing away. Just call me Digvijay, no issues.
okay, fine. Digvijay, first of all, thank you so much for joining us today. So, before we dive into your professional journey, I have to ask this. When you think back to your time at the UPS, what's that one memory or that moment that instantly brings a smile to your face? Something that still feels like it was just yesterday?
So it's just that I was not able to hear her.
Okay, I'll repeat it again. So,
Yeah.
I have to ask this. When you think back to your time at the UPS, what's that one memory or moment that instantly brings a smile to your face? Something that still feels like it was just yesterday.
Uh, Everything feels like just yesterday, but uh, I think one I'll always cherish was the day when Koshu was officially launched. I literally, if you ask me, for me, it was like it happened just yesterday itself, and we have to plan so much, we have to do this and that. So, ever since that happened in late January, if I'm not wrong, I have been in constant, very nice place where you're constantly hustling and bustling. So, that is definitely one memory that feels like yesterday. And second was definitely the sessions with KPMG, because now I remember them other day.
Okay,
Completely.
sir. As you talk about KPMG, right? So there's a side of placement session nobody really talks about until it's over. The rejection, the waiting, and the self doubt. Before Suzlon happened, were the companies that didn't shortlist you movement where you thought maybe I'm not good enough, and when that Suzlon offer finally came, so movement you would thought of might be good.
Aditya, this is a very nice question, and I was actually looking forward to this question also, because in case you didn't ask it, I would either ways would have answered. See,
Okay.
when you enter as an MBA student, I was very lucky enough because initially directors had these very nice interactive sessions of 1 hour each. Sadly, he decided to discontinue it because the participation from students wasn't that great. But just imagine, I was 1 week or 2 weeks down the course, and he had this really nice interactive session, and he said, Digvijay, what is in your control? Only look to control the controllables. So, being an MBA student, the best thing you can do is be a really good business student. And tell me one good reason, if you are a good business student, a good company won't hire you. So, which company is coming to UPS is not in your control, because you have already enrolled for
Yes.
this program from UPS. Which company will shortlist you is not in your control, but you can bloody well be prepared that if I get shortlisted, I'll convert that
Yes, sir.
opportunity. I'll get into the final stages, because after a stage, more or less it's that whether it clicked or not.
Yes, sir.
But if you are getting rejected in the first phase, there is something that you can always work upon.
Yes, sir.
So ever since the first semester, I spent, there was one more thing that he said, that how much time you spend in class will be okay, but what will really help you stand out is how much time you spend in the libraries after class. And one thing that will really push you up and above is how much time you spend with your professors. And trust me, I have spent time with my professors that my professors haven't spent time with my entire cohort. So
Understood.
when we talk about placements, because I'm in constant touch with my juniors also, and placements, I would call it really disheartening that they're not at par. Because trust
Yes,
me, the curriculum that we have in UPS, I am over here along with 29 other candidates from top B schools, including IIMs. You'll be surprised to
yes,
know
sir.
they are not half as good as we are in our college. Somewhere there is the gap between college and industry. They are not able to tell industry that, these are the skill sets that our students have. But that is no excuse for you.
Yes,
You have LinkedIn, you have all other platforms.
yes, sir.
You just have to show the world that, I am there. Uh, get me on board and
Yes.
I'll deliver.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask this. You were already working with Ashutosh Brickfield, generating results, real revenues. Then suddenly you decided to pause all of that and come back to your campus for an MBA. That's not an easy call to make. I wanted to know, like, what was going through your mind? What made you take that leap?
Well, I have this philosophy, you can say, but I don't like gray areas. I prefer white and black. So while I was there, I started in the operations itself. Slowly and steadily, I started to understand other aspects of business also. That what is finance? I read a couple of books, how marketing actually works, why do we actually need an HR? So I read a lot, and but the problem was whenever I decided to take a financial decision or say I had to do certain restructuring, I missed out on certain parts. So I very well realized that if I have to move up the ladder and I don't have to spend that much time learning everything, I need to get this MBA done. So at that point of time, and I was lucky enough that while UPS actually came to Lucknow itself, it got almost all their top professors. And over there, I sat and I interacted with them. They looked after my entire resume at that point of time also. And they said, Digvijay, you are well suited for the strategy course that we offer. They explained it to me very well. And that's how the journey started. But for me, it was very clear that I need to get that holistic knowledge in a very structured way. And because I had spent a considerable time up in the field also, I could relate to most of the subjects, I would say a lot better than a lot of my colleagues also. And that was the reason that I spent most of the time with my professors asking them questions which were more like real world questions and less of theory.
Hello, Digvijay. Abhishek,
I,
this side.
yep.
Actually, I have a question. Like my colleagues, my friends ask you a lot more about the past, and you have just told us that you have a working experience with the companies which helped you who to contact with the or the connect with the professors more in a professional way. So, as a strategic student, we have also learned just like we are learning strategic management, where we are trying to grasp the frameworks for the different kinds of like blue ocean, SWOT, pastels. So, are these frameworks actually helped you in your corporate life, or exactly how? Because whenever we are
Abhishek,
trying, yes,
I, oh, sorry, please continue. I thought that
no,
was
no,
it.
yeah, it's a continuous. Like we all have a same questions. Like whenever we are doing some case studies, our professors told us that you should do these framework in these certain manner. So we just want to know these framework actually help you in an exact manner, or you have to solve the question based on more your intuitions or your experience. Like what?
Okay. Nice question, firstly. Firstly, you have to understand why top institutions like Harvard and everyone moved towards case studies and not just like the traditional teaching that we all always used to have कि अच्छा ठीक है हमने बता दिया and now student will learn it and then apply. So the very basic reason why case studies are taught to you is, and this applies more to freshers, and relatively lesser to people with experience is, now if you had spent 10 odd years in industry, you'll get to know a lot of journeys of different firms. For example, I am in Suzlon. It's not like we don't take care of our competition, what is happening over there. So every quarter on quarter, we have this meeting and we just sit and analyze and we have this discussion that, Envision is doing this, which is aligned with their business model, but somewhere deep down, it's not aligned with their value chain very well. So now, when you read a case study, you are getting those 10 years in what, like 10, 20 pages. So we had this amazing professor at UPS, I'm forgetting his name, Deepak sir. Trust me, he gave this challenge to me that for 30 odd days, you have to read one case study a day, and it's my responsibility to give you one, provided the other day you come and discuss that case with me.
Okay.
And by the end of 21st day, it took me 21 odd case studies to actually know how to read a case study. So, firstly, answering your question, case studies are a great way for you adding a lot of experience. Because now, when I sit at Suzlon and we have to take a lot of decisions, I can very well relate. And trust me, it happens on a very subconscious level. And you'll be like, yeah, Hitachi also tried the same thing and it did not work out because they did not take care of these certain points. And then you start remembering कि boss यार diamond model होता है ना. So all these frameworks and all those things, these are not very hard and fast rules for you. For example, you must have read this BCG matrix and soft matrix and all
Yes.
these. So in hindsight, if you think, very common sense वाली चीज कि if there is a business that's doing extremely well for you, it's a cash cow. ठीक है, अभी है. Then you have star. The the beauty happens is when you know all these frameworks and you have read like 50, 60 odd case studies also, sorry, you start to give insights that boss over here, if they would have done this, then the outcome would have been different. So what you are effectively doing is you are training your mind in a way that after a point of time, the moment you start reading a case, for that matter, Arup Majumdar sir, he got one of the most amazing cases that you'll ever read. I don't know from where he got access to all those, but so when you sit and when you read those cases, and all of a sudden, so you cases are a very good way of making your business sense. And in corporate, that is all required. Framework, what it does is, for example, if you have point A to point B, there are multiple ways of going there. But frameworks are a logical way of reaching to that point. In between, you might change a lot of things that, ठीक है, we initially thought of this double diamond model or diamond model for that matter, not really clicking. So let's stop and think. So you don't have to always apply a framework, and mostly parts of a framework are applicable in a larger picture. So frameworks, whenever you read a framework, always ask your professor, sir, please share a case study where I could actually apply it. And always have this very nice habit that whenever you read a case, if there's in all the cases there will be a dilemma at the end that, should we go ahead with it or should
Yes.
we not go for that? Always
Statement.
correct. So always sit with that dilemma. And Sanjay Malla sir had this absolutely great line that he used at the end of every case. I want you guys to think like consultants and managers. That if I were the decision maker, what decision I would make? Like I said, remove all gray areas in management and consulting, or for that matter, corporate. Nobody likes a person who's in doubt. So what you have to really build is, there is a dilemma. You have two options. You choose one and you have proper logical reasons that these are the reasons based on which I believe this is the best way to go forward. The problem is most of the cases are like what, 5 or 6 years old. So you already know कि अभी क्या हुआ
Yes.
उसके साथ. So if you can get, a little bit recent cases, they actually do help you build this habit a lot, because you did your analysis, you don't have access to resources which Suzlon has, but yet you said that, Suzlon should do this because I believe this is how it should
The
go.
right path for the or the right
Correct.
choice they
So
should make.
yes, so once you read enough case studies, you start saying this word that I believe, in my opinion. So cases are a very good way for you, and trust me, this helps you in the interviews greatly. Because even when I was sitting with Suzlon and they had Digvijay, you are not from this industry, so how can you contribute over here? And I was like totally upbeat at that point of time, and I said, no, no, sir, these are the cases that I have actually read, of which two were of Suzlon itself. So I know how it works. So they were very much interested in knowing, अच्छा ठीक है तो फिर what was the dilemma in that case? I told them and said, what is your perspective? I told, which was completely wrong, but because I was able to give very logical answers to it, so that really helped.
Okay,
So
thank you.
these frameworks do work even today when we sit. For example, Suzlon is right now deciding on pivoting its business from solely wind to a lot of other things. They sit, and these frameworks are the guiding principles, because अभी रिसर्च करने को बहुत कुछ है. They act like guiding stones. तो read these frameworks, and these are like, वो आपको होते हैं ना तर्कश में बाण, कब कौन सा चलाना है,
Yeah.
that you learn with cases.
Okay.
Hi,
Hi,
Digvijay.
Digvijay.
अच्छा, ऐसा बारी बारी वाला सिस्टम है. नाइस.
Hi, Aditi this side. Am I audible?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay. So I often wondered about how important clarity is whenever we are making any choice in our life. So I wanted to know about your opinion. Like looking back, do you think clarity comes before taking action, or does clarity come after you take the leap?
Aditi, I always believe in one thing, which
Yes.
is there are a minimum number of wrong decisions that you need to make before you make that right one. So the earlier you make all those bad choices, the better it is. Having said that, let's add some logic to the entire mess also. So whenever you have to take any decision, always sit. For example, it is 9:57 right now, and I have to decide whether I have to accept this offer letter or not, whether I have to apply for it or not. At 9:57, just ask yourself, do I have all the information that I need to take this decision? If the answer is yes, and you believe I should not apply for it, totally cool. If at 9:58 you come across new information, and then it's like, array, yaar, that's totally fine. Most people, what they do is, they are like, यार फिर अभी कल चल के पता चला कि अगर ये उल्टा हुआ तो I might be wrong. Either ways, you'll be wrong. So the best is, in that moment, firstly, now the story changes. If in that position you are like, मेरे को decision 1 minute में लेना है, the information that I'll be getting is maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow or after half an hour, but I have to take this decision right now. Again, of all the information that you have till now, is this the right decision? If the answer is yes, go with it. If the answer is no, back off. And mostly, if you have that doubt ki whether should I go for it, don't. If it's a clear resounding yes, go ahead with it. If it's not, just go back. And if you are deciding to go ahead with it, please be very clear that, these are the reasons because of which I'm going ahead with it. And that's all you will ever need in your life for clarity. Otherwise, people will keep on troubling you with all this excess information. You have taken that decision, and then Aditya will come, अरे यार आदिति, तुम्हें पता नहीं था यार इसके बारे में, ये तुम्हें नहीं पता था, and you decided to go ahead with it. Now you are in that zone, अरे यार shit. So always be kind enough to yourself that, at the point when I took decision, of all the information that I had, this was the best decision. And there will be times when after half an hour, you think, yeah, probably that was not the best of decision. Maybe I got carried away with emotions at that point of time that this option seemed very good for me. And that is where learning comes. But be very proud that at that point of time, in the mental stage that I was, this seemed very nice, very okay. So I'm cool with it. I made mistake. So be very comfortable with making mistakes. Remember this one line, it will help you greatly that you have to make these uh, n number of wrong decisions or mistakes to get that one thing right. So always focus on taking a lot of decisions, but back them by some logic.
Thank you.
Hi Digvijay, I'm Shubham.
Hi,
So
Shubham.
hi. So I would like to know more about your professional journey. Like as a management trainee, what kind of projects like you are currently working on or you have worked so far? And is your role is more strategy focused or it also involves some operations and fieldwork too?
Shubham, this you are all in which semester right now?
Second.
Second
Correct.
semester.
So understand this one thing in corporate that you always have to develop this habit of taking initiative. Because the thing is, so if you are into a big corporate like Suzlon or you are in a startup, either ways you will have uh, a well-defined KRA. They will tell you that this is what we expect from you. That is the bare minimum. So now coming to your question, as a management trainee, any organization expects very little of you. What they want is that please come in, gel in. All the managers and the leads are clearly told that he's a management trainee. You have to train because there is this word trainee.
Mm.
You should always use it for your benefit because I'll tell you, we were total 30 people who were inducted as management trainees by Suzlon, and there are 4 or 5 of us who are clearly now performing and we are no longer in that training zone. And a lot of that happens when you start taking initiative, when you go and start meeting people. Firstly, don't have this habit, and this is something that I find very bad in college students also. Firstly, आप लोग students हो,
Mm.
there is nothing and absolutely no word like बेइज्जती. You should be very upfront, going to your professors, asking them one of the most dumbest of questions. Trust me, with when you get a CGPA, for example, in semester third and fourth, my CGPA was 9.85 and 9.8, if I'm not wrong, in both the semesters. And I went to my professors and I asked one of the most dumbest of questions, and they were like, "यार दिग्विजय तुम पूछ रहे हो ऐसा?" मैंने कहा, "Explain, please." So the same thing got transferred here also. So this is one habit that you have to build very fast, because once you remove this entire thing ki yaar what he might think about me, you build this like great confidence. So in corporate, is my role strategy? No, it was never meant to be. Did I convert it into more of a strategy thing? Yes. Am I asked to do more of operational roles?
Mm.
So in Suzlon, operational role is like आपको site पे जाना है, you have to oversee the operations and all those things. No.
Okay.
Did I go to site to see how that operations happen? Yes, I did. I traveled in the public buses. I reached those sites. For learning, they are very good place, but I'm happy at HO. So the thing is, always focus on enhancing your knowledge. And the reason I'm saying is because somewhere deep down, what I believe you should also target is you should target that I have to be at the top, and I have to be at that top in a very short span of time.
Mm.
Now, when I said that the reason why I started doing MBA was because I wanted to know the holistic part. So in any organization where you go, and if you have to rise uh, relatively faster than your colleagues, competition बोलने जा रहा था, wrong word. So you have to enhance your knowledge base. Why? Because now that I know how operations happen at a site, and I say that, this strategy that you have regarding these particular area or states will not work. So I can back it with logic and not ki nahi, I am not getting a feeling. And when you start doing it, the team which is under you, trust me, there are people with 25 years of experience who report to me at this point of time. And the only reason they respect is because I bring something to the table that they don't have. So when you build that strength, and trust me, you have one of the most amazing professors to work with. And the reason I'm saying is because they are not professors, they are industry pros.
Right.
The only problem they are facing is that students are not spending enough time with them. So it's been what I joined in June. Currently it is Feb. कितने महीने हो गए अभी? 8 months.
8 months.
So the first 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, everybody judges you. All point of time, you need to have a very, very, very strong work ethic. Across these 2 years, I believe there was I didn't take any leave. So firstly, 100% attendance is compulsory if you are in college, because you cannot afford to miss out on those professors who are teaching you over there. अभी कोई बहुत special reason है, that's a different thing. Second, be the you're investing really huge amount over there. You know, these 2 years in college is how you will be in corporate. I often say this to my manager over here, who happens to be the vice president over of the entire supply chain at Suzlon. And I say, you are only churning 60% out of me because you were trained at a totally different level. So use these 2 years at UPS. Now you have 1 year left to train yourself that when you set your foot in a corporate, the moment people see you, they are like the way you dress, the way you move, the way you talk. We had Gopal Chanana sir. I
Yes.
had what, like 15 plus in-person sessions with him where your lip is going this way. It's not how it is supposed to. He made me do exercises. He made me like talk to mirror more than I have talked to any person in the world. He made me record my voice to understand how my tone is. Am I going fast? Am I going slow? You should have that 1 minute pitch for yourself ready, because in corporate, it really adds a lot of value because you will meet someone who's of great importance. He has absolutely no idea who you are. He'll go and check in the profile. It will say management trainee. So, a very good afternoon, sir. Uh, I think you don't know me. I'm Digvijay under da 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 da. And then you give that 1 minute speech. That 1 minute pitch of yours will define where you go with that particular person. So, how your corporate journey goes has a lot to do with how well you prepped yourself during the MBA days.
Hi,
Thank you.
Digvijay. I'm Shreya.
Hi, Shreya.
It was really a wonderful session with you. I have just one last question. What was the best advice you have received in your career so far from your mentors, from your colleagues, from your seniors?
Well, it is one advice that I've got repeatedly and which has helped me the most, which is always, always, always be curious and the hardest
All
working
right,
person in the room.
all right.
Because if you are curious and you're not that hardest working, you will always stay curious. There's no
Hmm.
shunning of that. And this is something that I do believe as an MBA student you should all also have. Because if something is going wrong, if something is going right, you should always have, "Arey, why is it working?"
Hmm.
So curiosity and persistence, these are the two things that you should always, always have. And trust me, being the hardest worker in the room, people might say all those things to you that, you have those very nice fancy quotes. that there was a person who started chopping the tree, and then there was the other person who was shining the blade and everything. So even the person who
Mm,
was shining the blade earlier used to chop the tree, but then he realized it's better to shine the axe.
exactly.
So always, always, always really invest a lot of time in upskilling yourself, read a lot, and that
All
will
right.
really take you, because when you're curious, for example, in our time, hi re, kya bol raha hu main, shi, shi, shi. So last year when our chat GPT was taking off in all good ways, one thing is to use it, second is to understand how to best use it. So
All right.
I, along with my professors, we spent, I think Deepak sir was the one who initiated this conversation in our cohort itself. And we spent 2 odd months taking all sorts of courses just to understand how to prompt better.
All right.
So be clever and all, be smart, that's all good. But curiosity combined with, that I am the hardest worker in this room, that's it. माइक है नहीं, वरना माइक ड्रॉप कर देता मैं ऐसे खटाक.
It was really a wonderful session, and thank you
For
very
sure.
much for explaining everything in detail and taking out time to be with
So you
us.
guys have 10 more minutes. I just wanted to add one very good thing
We
that,
have 3 minutes.
Digvijay, we have only 3 minutes.
oh my God. Acha, no issues. So
Actually,
whenever,
Zoom session has 40 minutes, so
Yes.
that's
acha,
the time
no
limit we
problem.
have.
So you all must be also now planning to go for your internships.
Yeah,
Yes.
Before you go for the internship, ensure that you have this one session with me, because I'll tell you a lot of things that are make or break for that internship, which will greatly assist you for your placements. Because a
all
lot of
right.
people go into internship and then ठीक है कर लेनी है, and then you sit for your interviews
Hmm.
and you're like boss नहीं करनी थी वैसे. So
Hmm.
I'll tell you those small things. Do nothing in your internship, you'll have that very nice story to tell, which people like to hear.
All right.
Okay, so it's
Thank you
10:11.
very
It was
much.
great to have you all here. Please
So I would
Same
be
like
here.
to
my
connect. I'm
witness to
already working.
that. Sorry.
I even talked to you about like I'm working with Zot, interning with Zot. Ekdam
Arey,
datta sir.
very nice, very nice, very nice. You all have this?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
We do.
Someday have this one session also planned where we could just review your resume, because we got it reviewed by what, 50 plus times.
For sure. For sure, sir.
For
That
sure.
would be great for us.
Anytime, anytime, anytime. Always ready to help. Okay, guys.
Thank you,
It's about
Digvijay.
time.
Thank you
Thank you.
a lot.
Thank you.
How do I end this? Yes.